Hi, welcome back to the video novel Deadly Affirmations. Today we're going to read the third part of chapter 9. If you're ready, we'll begin. Here we go. Patience had worked through her regular lunchtime, and about 2:30, when she left her desk to go to the break room to get a bite to eat and rest her eyes, she found that her lunchbox had been ransacked again. The paper bag was ripped, and the little plastic box with her sandwich in it was gone. About half the grapes in the plastic bag had been taken, with the empty stems left as a silent "fuck you." Patience stormed back to her desk and rummaged through her purse, looking for her wallet. She grabbed a couple of ones and stomped back into the break room. She found a Diet Nestea with lemon in one vending machine, and when she put another dollar bill into the other vending machine and pressed A13 for the Rocky Mountain Carbs Chocolate Notes granola bar, the bar got stuck in its dispenser. Patience slapped the side of the machine. Nothing. She kicked the machine. The little wax paper package wobbled on its little hook but did not fall. Patience barely kept the scream bottled up inside her, but she moved to the side of the machine, carefully staying away from potentially breaking glass, lowered her shoulder, and put all of her weight and strength into ramming into the goddamn machine. It made a hell of a noise. Patience had to slam into the machine twice before her lunch fell into the tray. No one came to see what the commotion was about, so she took her iced tea and granola bar back to her desk and spent 15 minutes chewing something that resembled cardboard and sipping something that resembled spoiled Kool-Aid. After work, Patience went home, still steaming. She changed out of her work clothes into a Cryptek Highlander pattern camo t-shirt, a pair of khaki twill jogging pants, her running shoes, and a North Face illuminated reversible jacket, hunter orange on one side and boring gray on the other. She grabbed her Logan green backpack and one of Wheezy's navy blue knit caps and put the pack on her back and the cap on her head. She took her keys and locked the door. She'd be back later. Patience walked quickly and found an IGA store on the way to Betty's. She had never shopped in this store before, so she grabbed a cart and walked up and down the aisles until she found a pair of pretty blue plastic gloves, Playtex hand savers, $2, and a roll of store-brand plastic wrap, 100 feet, for $2.39. After looking at all the different flavors, cheddar, sharp cheddar, cheddar and bacon, American pimento, cheddar blue cheese, shrimp cocktail, and pizza, Patience chose 2 cans of a budget brand Cheese Whiz Kraft Easy Cheese, the instant cheese for instant parties. Pasteurized, made with real cheese, an excellent source of calcium, no need to refrigerate. $4.09 each for 8 ounces, as opposed to Kraft Sharp Cheddar cheese snack at $5.49. She checked the expiration date. She found that she had a year and a half to use it before it would go bad, and bought 2 cans of the American flavor. Patience got into the 12-item or less self-checkout aisle. As she was scanning the barcodes for the gloves and the plastic wrap and the Easy Cheese, she turned to her right and spied a cheerful yellow bag of peanut M&Ms. She scanned that too and slipped a $20 bill into the slot when the machine requested payment. She walked outside and loaded her purchases into her backpack. She wadded up the receipt and threw it into the trash can just outside the store's front door. With everything else ready, she began the rest of her walk to Betty's and opened the bag of candy, finishing the yummy chocolate and peanut goodness before she had walked 2 blocks. Patience looked around to see if anyone was watching, and when she was sure that she would not be seen, she wadded up the empty candy wrapper and tossed it into a storm drain. When Patience got to Betty's house, she looked around the neighborhood, and when she was sure that no one was watching, she walked up the driveway and waited outside the back door for a minute, taking that minute to put on the plastic gloves. She bent down and looked through a gap in the curtain that almost covered the little window in the door. She saw Betty walk into the kitchen and open the refrigerator looking for something. Patience tried the doorknob and found that it was unlocked. She walked into the little kitchen and noticed a cast iron skillet on the stove. She took the skillet, weighing it in her hand. Substantial. A fine piece of cookware, she thought. Betty turned around and began to ask, "What are you?" Patience hit the woman flush on the side of the head with the skillet. Betty dropped like a stone. Patience smirked a little to herself when she realized that this was the first time in her life that she had hit someone upside the head. And even though she had often thought about doing it, Betty was out. Patience put the skillet back on the stove and pulled out the Easy Cheese, filling the woman's ears and nostrils before sticking the orange plastic nozzle into the woman's mouth. She emptied 1 can, pulled the other can out of the backpack, and finished filling the unconscious woman's mouth with the gooey cheese product. Then, before Betty had a chance to spit the cheese out of her mouth or blow it out of her nostrils, Patience wrapped the woman's head in plastic wrap. By this time, Betty was waking up. even though she couldn't breathe through the creamy plug of cheese in its plastic wrapping. Patience walked over to the refrigerator. The door was still open, and looked over the shelves. Betty made a muffled noise, and Patience turned to her and kicked her in the side of the head. Betty was still moving and making noises, so Patience had no choice but to kick her another time or two. When it was finally quiet again, Patience looked back into the refrigerator and found a little Tupperware tub on the top shelf. She took it out and opened the top. A leftover helping of homemade macaroni salad, mayonnaise, vinegar, spicy pickles, black olives, roasted red peppers, green onions, salt and pepper. Yum! Now Patience was hungry, but she never raided other people's lunches. That would be wrong. But Betty had eaten her lunch twice. By that time, the woman on the floor had finally stopped moving. Patience waited another 5 minutes to make sure Betty had reached room temperature, and then she took a pair of scissors from a bowl on the counter and cut the plastic off Betty's head. She replaced the scissors in the bowl and put 2 cans of cheese and the wadded up plastic wrap back into her plastic bag of supplies, and then put the plastic bag back into her backpack, along with the tub of macaroni salad and a spoon. Patience put her pack onto her back and walked out the door. She turned the little lock on the doorknob and closed the door. Then she walked home. She pulled off the plastic gloves and stuck them inside out in her jacket pockets. After a block, Patience stopped and took off the backpack and fished out the little plastic tub and spoon. She ate the pasta salad as she walked. It was delicious and really hit the spot. She tossed the empty tub in a city trash can at a bus stop and threw the spoon down a sewer drain a couple of blocks later. She found herself in front of Cup of Lightning, a great little coffee place. She walked in and ordered a medium black house blend with a little cup of ice to cool it down, found a table and sipped her coffee, absently listening to the hipster music drifting out of the speaker in the ceiling, some sort of new age instrumental. That alone inspired her to slug down what was left of her cup and throw her cup and napkin along with the plastic gloves into the trash. Before she left, she took off her backpack and her jacket, turned the reversible jacket inside out, and put it on with a new color showing. She reached into the backpack and took out the IGA bag with the roll of plastic wrap and now empty cans of processed cheese and put the backpack back on her back. She walked out the door. As she walked down the block, she came to an alley. It was a neat and clean alley. This was River City, after all, but there was a convenient dumpster. She walked over, looked to see if anyone was watching, lifted the lid and tossed in the 2 Easy Cheese cans. She left the alley and walked another block, putting the plastic wrap box into a trash can at the bus stop, and then finished her walk home.